Welcome back to the Madden God podcast. I love it. The Madden God podcast. It's as much as I can say. Can't do better than that. I'm Max, your host, and I'm here with the wonderful, the amazing, the one and only forever and ever and ever and ever, Roxanne. And she's gone. It was too much. She's gone. Some
Hello,
unexpected
Max.
error happened. We're going to talk to continue our discussion from last week. Um,
Last week we talked about channeling.
Exactly, as a reminder,
And
way
what
for
do you want to go this
channeling.
week? Let's do healing. Let's do healing, right?
Yes.
Okay. You want to pick it up from there, or no? You want me to keep going? You're Reiki.
I can pick it up. Yes.
Yeah, you're Reiki.
So the ability of healing is mainly an ability of exchange, of using energy, right? It's still right. It's always like always is vibration, energy, and someone that goes into has the ability of healing primarily is getting into that energy and sharing it with another person. Now, that is not all of it. There are many techniques that can be used. One is the Reiki. There is the sound. And then there is a guided meditation that you can do. There are many, many ways. One thing that we are always very clear about is that healing is a co-creation. And there is the healer and there is the person that is ill. Mainly is about the one that is in need of the healing. That is actually right. It's the center of it. And in my experience, what we do is that the healer facilitates. And I think that is a point that is very, very important to understand. And that is that it's the healer doesn't come in as the one that takes away all the pain, and the other person is just there, and that's nothing. That's the co-creation, is that coming together. Do you have the I have a noise in my ears. Do you hear that too? Oh. Now I can't hear you well. Can you hear me good?
Yeah. Let me turn on the articulation. Can you not hear me?
I can hear you, but there's a noise in the, I don't know, in the line or something. And let me just wait just a second. No. Let me see. AirPod. If I switch this off. It's better now. It's gone. Oh. Technical problems tonight. It's fine.
Oh, I switched microphones. Can you hear me okay now?
Yeah, I can hear you. Okay.
Okay, so I switched microphones.
Right. Okay, back to it. So the healing basically is that it's one person with another person, or it can be multiple, right? It's not limited. It depends on the situation, and facilitating the healing. And now, when I say facilitating the healing, what is healed? Well, there can be intention, meaning one person says, I have a broken arm. Can you come in and help me healing the broken arm? That's one way of doing it. And the other way is to keep it completely open and not having, you can have directions, but you keep it quite open, because in actuality, even if you can have intention and go and focus on one place, what I always perceive is that you actually don't know as a healer what is really needed. You I, and hear me here. It's not that you are completely unaware, but whether it's the healer, whether it's the person in need of the healing, there are things that are unknown to both. And so the healing then can go and help in what is known or what is unknown. And that's where it's not always possible to know exactly what you are doing, especially with some techniques, right? The Reiki, when you use the Reiki, you can know, I know that this person has back problems, so I focus on the back. Great. But then I may be sensing something on the stomach, on the heart, or the shoulders, wherever, and I don't know why. But also the person I'm working with doesn't know. So they may say, I don't know. I don't feel nothing. There's really not anything I know, but I feel compelled doing that. So there's something. And I think that is part of the reason why I prefer to always keep it open and not only focus on what is not. Other technique like sound, the sound, you can also have intentions, but in my experience, is better not to have, because it's even more wider, and it can be a technique that goes much more in vibration and extra dimension, right? Other dimensions and all of that, because it vibrates even, right, more as it's sound. And so the more you leave it open, the better, in my opinion. Then again, you can have situations where you can direct. My direction for me is limitation, because then you are limiting the scope, and every time you're doing that, then limitation. So you are not really opening the energy to reach other spaces, other situations that you may know or you may not know. It doesn't matter. And I think but one thing that I wanted to talk about, Roxy, because we talk sometimes, go with the empath, and the empath gave us a different perspective on healing that is really very interesting to explore as well.
Are you
As
talking
a
about the
connection.
empath creature, the one I channeled?
Yeah.
Are you talking empath? Okay, you got to make that clear, because
Yes.
folks out there listening, there are people that on the planet that are empaths. Okay, which is, I suppose, a heightened sense of awareness of what other people are feeling. And there's a whole bunch of dialogue behind that truth. But I was talking about an actual physical alien species that are empaths. So go ahead. That's what you were
Uh,
referring to, this physical species. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. And it's a species that, as I remember it, their healing is in becoming it. They are not just feeling, right, sharing the feeling, or having, right, that idea of empathy that we have. They become it.
Yeah. Hang on. Let's do something real quick. Empath definition. Let me see what Google says here. Chiefly in science fiction, a person with paranormal ability to apprehend the mental or emotional state of another individual. See, I love that because that's not what most people in the spiritual. They're empaths because they can feel. All they're doing is translating other people's feelings. This said different. Apprehend. Do you understand the difference?
Yes.
You know, it's a big, big difference. So people that are empaths, they can apprehend the mind and the emotional state of another person. That would be an empath. But then what do you do with it? Most people are saying, "Oh, I'm suffering because I can feel everyone else's feelings, so I have to bear this. My job is to suffer for others." But they're not suffering. They're not putting out that energy. What are they, absent from their own truth? Bullshit. I call fucking Trump on that. You're just translating. When I talk about empaths, I talk about a species or an ability to become the actual uh, manifested illness and trend and take that illness out of the person that is ill and bring it into your body and then frequency shift or transmute it, whatever the empaths do. So if you had a broken arm, the arm would be broken after the transference, and then they would heal themselves. If you had cancer, then the empath would have cancer, and then the empath would heal himself. That's this kind of idea, but that's not the idea
Exactly.
of. That's a ability, but I don't think we have that ability here. The Christ conscience, um, you know, he gave those people the ability to heal themselves, which you were talking about at the beginning. And what I'm going to do is reference this with an idea. And you had said it, the healer heals themselves. So when the Christ conscious approached the leper or the blind or the lame, he didn't look at them as sick. We weren't there. We just listened to the story. We weren't there for the healing. We weren't present. Only people were there were long gone, dead. The story about that still lives on, and there's validity in that story. So whatever happened, the Christ conscience, from my perspective, didn't look at the person and say, "Oh shit, you're sick." He looked at them and gave them wholeness, and they accepted their own healing, their own wholeness through the Christ conscience. Therefore, they did literally heal themselves. They accepted the healing. They didn't do it themselves as an intentional inside of the body, fixing their legs or their spinal cord so they could walk again. What they did is they accepted the Christ conscious co-created moment. The beauty of the Christ conscious allowed the body of that person, their belief systems, to open up and accept the total surrender to the healing because they're in front of God's Son. That's the concept. And it was very valid. And when you true about something, you get true realities that equate in the physical reality. That's the law of creation, law of attraction, one of the laws. So that acceptance of Christ consciousness was able to heal these people, and it looked like he did the miracle. he gave them the opportunity to miracle themselves, truly. But however you want to play that on your mind is irrelevant and, of course, subjective. So have at it. But that's what I see when you heal someone. See, like if I take medicine, if I have a headache, it's not the aspirin. It's my relationship with the aspirin that says this is going to give my headache, and it works. You know. And if you don't have confidence in your doctor, you're not going to go so well. So you got to find the right doctor and accept the healing from that doctor with 100% trust to allow whatever's going to occur. And you can't have any expectations. Most people have expectations because they're looking for miracles, you know. And if you're vibrating expectation, you're vibrating lack. So a lot of the healings that the spiritual healers have the ability to do don't work is because the recipient is in a rejection or an expected frequency of resistance to what's going to occur. Some people don't know what to do with themselves without healing. Hypochondriacs, people all over, they love to have their pain. They love to have their injuries. They say, oh, I'm hurt. I got to put a band there. Oh, I got they got something going on. So when we're talking about, empaths, that's the way I see the idea of empaths. And you talked about you're a Reiki healer, and there's certain movements in Reiki that allow the energy to pass through you to penetrate the body. And I'm not a Reiki healer. I never explored that. So I don't know. I've seen people do it with direction and intention, and however it is, just know that whatever you attract, and that's the person in your life that gives you ability or an opportunity to heal yourself through this, then trust that attraction, trust that idea, and explore it for the truth. It doesn't mean you have to accept their healing or even do a healing with them. You just are exploring the moment. You don't put things in time. But anyway, that's another thing.
Yes,
Go ahead.
exactly. And I think that to keep going with what you're saying is that I consider that it doesn't matter if it's a doctor, a Reiki, or a
Witch
sound,
doctor.
or which, yeah, whatever. That for me, it doesn't matter, because from the point of view of creation, what is happening, it's a relationship of healing, right? So the doctor has an approach that is much more physical. So it goes
Yeah.
and check the body, what is wrong, right, with all the research and all of that. Someone that has another technique is going to use other ways, more in the energies. But the finite of this is that we are all working with energies when we look into creation. So that I don't make the difference, in the sense that the end game is to bring the healing, right? And
Yes.
especially because you know that in the end of the day, who's healing who is a self-healing. From the point of view of creation, I'm talking. I'm not talking about the story that we're telling. It's from the point of view of creation is a self-healing. The
Yes.
being heals itself. That's what happens. The healer is the story. And I'm not saying that the healer is not doing it or that is not part of it. Of course, the healer is part of it, right? But we have to be able to see the true aspect of it as one, right? There is the aspect of creation, which is you heal yourself, and there is the aspect of human reality that is there's a doctor, there's a healer, and there is an interaction. There may be some pills to take, there may be a surgery, whatever it is that in the moment is needed for the healing. It's one and one, right, together. And in the end, there is a there is a
The
B,
healing's
the
done. Mm-hmm.
the healing is done. Right.
Yeah, see, the thing with humanity is cause and effect, and that's why it makes it difficult because everyone is looking for, well, the effect is I've been healed, the cause of it because I had a good doctor or I was healed. So there's always assignment of ideas of responsibility and cause and stuff like that. That's all just human separation, trying to figure out reality when it's a moment. Who gives a fuck how it happened? Everyone's looking always to be assigned something. Stop, stop it, just stop. Everyone is enough as is. But anyway,
Yeah.
so healing is an art. There's healers out there, and I don't know how many healers are out there any longer. I know when I first got into this, the spiritual awakening, my awakening in 2013, Reiki was all over the place. There was a lot of talk about Reiki, and I'm sure it's still out there. But I haven't seen, oh, pardon me, folks, I haven't seen much of, um, well, then again, I'm not out there focused on it either, so I don't know. I don't know how much healing is going on in the world, you know.
Well, I mean, the exact amount that is needed,
Well,
if you
yeah,
want, right?
sure.
It- so, and by the look of it, right, is that um, it seems that there is a lot of need of healing, but then it's a perspective because that's all that is. We can only, yeah, express what we are experiencing. And I
Yeah.
don't want to run into right the conclusions. However, from my perspective, yeah, there is a need for um, the story of healing, right? To bring this experience to as wildly as possible. Then it's a choice in the end of the day, right?
So how many healing modalities do you know? I know of pranic. I know pranic healing. That involves the pranic idea. I know of Reiki. I know of empath, but that's outside of the human collective in my terms. Um, sound healing, sound bath, sound healing. Anything else?
um there is, well, I don't know how to name. Well, you have the Chinese techniques of healing that uses something that is close to the Reiki, but
Mm.
they go in a different
Yeah, I
direction
wasn't thinking,
also.
when you said that, I was thinking about acupuncture. Well, I
Yes,
think
exactly.
which is, I'm going to get some, so I'm very excited about getting it. Um, but I was thinking more of the spiritual idea. Although the acupuncture is spiritual, I think it's been accepted as common in the mainstream, I should say. You know, and the
Yes,
China
and
healing, that's like Reiki. I do remember that. Yeah,
you have the let's say African the shamans have
shaman. There you
also
go. Very good, shaman. Yeah,
they are healers. Um,
yeah.
I see other techniques that are in the guided healing. So with colors, images, focusing right into giving a color to the uh, mm, to what is aging, right? To that kind of thing, and then healing it with uh, changing the color. It's also a technique that is used that I've experienced.
I never heard of that. So you're a
Then,
Reiki healer, right? Or no, that there's more. What else?
well, I also use the breath. There's, but this is more things that I'm using, right? That I'm experiencing with a breath healing. Um, that is something that I've received channeling from the
Yeah, Wim Hof does
dragons.
a lot of breath work and stuff. I think what I'm looking for is when I was talking about abilities, I think more so is I have this and I can embrace this, and it's not for me. It's how I can give it to someone else. So how in breath work, how would you give it to someone else? Or can you? Or is it for yourself? Would you
No,
guide
it's
them?
yeah, exactly. You
Oh,
guide them.
explain that. Okay, let me hear.
So with the breath is you start breathing. Breathe in, breathe out slowly, very slowly, and as you breathe, relax. You relax as much as you can, and you can focus your breathing on where you have a problem or it's aging, and the thing is that as you breathe, at one moment when I will say it, I want you to increase your breathing in the sense that you breathe in, you stop, you keep it for some seconds, and when you breathe out, I want you to breathe out with all the strength that you have. Everything that is in there comes out. Everything that you do not want to keep has to come out. Breathe out like if your life depended on it. Going out, it has to explode out of you. And repeating that, and then with that is right, it's a way to expel, to take out that energy that is creating the situation.
That's gotta be an incredible sense of relationship for the one that's ill. In other words, I mean, if you're in pain and you got to breathe, they have to accept that. You're just not going to blow your cancer out. And I'm not talking about bullshit fucking viruses and the cold. I'm talking about illness, you know? I don't talk about going to the store and get a prescription for sore muscle. So that breath healing, the one that's healing themselves must have some kind of strong relationship with that not working. Wouldn't you think, or no?
Yes,
Because they're doing it themselves. There's no person, they're being guided. See, a
yes,
doctor heals them. A Reiki does the Reiki. Breath work, you're turning the responsibility over. That changes the entire relationship dynamic of the healing. Now it's became personal. Before, like Bashar had said, the doctor is the permission slip. The pill is the permission slip. It allows things to change. So I'm thinking, if the person has to do that, look, we've been minding ourselves since the last 150 years. Anything that we think we're doing new is just a new version of an old scene.
mhm,
Maybe more widely spread, of course, because we have the greatness of the internet and such. To bring these ideas, those modalities throughout the world. The pranic and stuff that's been tangible for thousands of years. Of course, we think we're inventing it. We're not fucking inventing anything. But it
But
makes me think. Go ahead. What?
I use this particularly for pain, and
But for you have to
especially
do it for yourself.
uh, yeah, the person does it for themselves, and this is also because then when you have a pain, it's the repetition, and what I want is that for them to be able to do this when I'm not there also, right? So that I can do that with a Reiki session, guiding, right, having the two happening at the same moment, and then they can do the breathing when they have the pain coming back or something like that.
Yeah. There's been a lot of Ruben Langdon does Wim Hof breathing. Wim Hof is a guy that's been doing this stuff for years and years about different modalities of breathing and stuff like that. And it does great things. Breath work for the body. It does exceptional things. We're not denying that. I'm just saying that be aware of particular kind of healings. You have to have the right relationship with yourself if it's going to heal. How long has medicine been enacted in the mainstream? 1800s, 1700s, 1800s. We went from witch doctors to the medical field. 1700s, we started doing medicine. Medicine became science. Science became facts. Fact became truth. Truth became healing. So that's why we have a plethora of pills today, because we accept them as working, and they do work. They give us experiences. Who's looking at that? So the breath work, I suppose you can couple with your Reiki and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that if we covered what I was seeing, then there are people, and I met a couple of them that they can heal instantly with just touching or with the hands.
Yeah, there you go. I remember that. You know, yeah, I remember people talking about that.
And I remember
And they,
meeting one of
I
those.
mean, we've heard that in the Bible called laying hands on them, lay hands.
Yeah, and this guy that I met, he was saying that he felt like he had another being or a being with him that was guiding or facilitating or doing the healing.
Beautiful.
That that's what he told me.
Oh, yeah, that's good. Did you meet
Yeah.
him?
Yes, we were in a class together some years ago, and I
Oh,
know that he is still practicing. He has a practice here in the region.
right now in your region, you're still practicing?
Yeah.
Outstanding. Good.
Yes, and you know it's that kind of places where people go cancer, for instance, when they are desperate
Yeah,
to have some healing because the science doesn't help.
right.
They try this other
Yeah, there's a few other
solutions.
people out there that have that. That's good.
Or another thing that I heard is the people that have it's like a word of command, right? They can heal burns, people that are born at the third degree or something like that, and they're able to heal them with just one word.
With one word?
Yeah, they call it The Secret, something
Yeah,
like that.
like the book The Secret,
No, it's The Secret is a word, or maybe it's a
but they don't
um
want to give the word. I mean, fuck humanity, right?
yeah, they keep it for them. It's
Yeah,
very,
yeah,
there's
yeah,
obviously some belief system behind that.
yeah.
They
I
have to
think
keep
that
it, they
belongs in
have
the
to do it a
bottom.
certain way.
Yeah, that belongs in the bottom of a fucking bird cage. That's newspaper to catch bird droppings. That's shit. Anyone who does that is just a bullshitter, a fucking lackful bullshitter. Fuck them. So that one's not valid. Someone that puts themselves out there, that changes the collective with their work, that's balls. Someone parading around, thumping their chest, we have the secret to heal people with the special word. Fuck you. That's crap. That's the diarrhea of humanity and their separatism. But anyway, you get out there and you heal and you hone your craft and you do that. If you're called,
Yeah,
such people are called to do the work. They feel like they can do the work. Some people do it because they have nothing else to do and they're trying to figure out their purpose. So they explore it and they find out, this might not be for me. You know, channeling and speaking, I found it and I ain't leaving it because I love to fucking do it. You know, I wouldn't do, well, mediumship. I'm really good at that too. We can maybe talk about that next. That's another
oh
call.
yes. Mhm.
Yeah, medium.
Oh, but yeah, I didn't know, we never explored that.
No, no, we haven't. We just got here.
Yeah, I know, but that's something you never shared.
Oh, I've said it a few times with the mediumship and done the classes and stuff like that. Tell people to be medium, stuff like that. We've done that. Anyways, I like the idea of healing, but I think look, medicine is an industry. It's like anything else. It's an industry. Pharmaceuticals is an industry. It's revenue. It's income. It's economy. It's economy. I know there's people getting fat and rich off of it. You can't lack that. You just let them have it. You pay attention to your world, but it's part of the collective. It's part of the industry, and it's very valid. And if we can shift that idea and move away. Now, I know there was a lot of bandwagons. I think it almost looked like the Oklahoma Sooners. You know, the land rush when they all these people are jumping away from modern medicine and going to the Far East and all this spiritual healings type stuff, thinking it's going to be that. But they approached it with an attitude of expectation, and of course, it just fell apart because it doesn't work. And now I think after we sifted through 20 years of the shit, we're starting to emerge with more valid ideas of what healing has possibly can be. So I think Reiki is very valid. Um, the empath, again, that's something outside of the scope of humanity right now. I think um, laying hands on, if that works, I don't know. You know, I've never beared witness to it, but if it works, it works. So, if we have this ability and we have, but then again, okay, maybe I didn't reference this. Let's reference this with an idea. We're a fucking collective people. If you divide us in your mind, you're dividing yourself from potential billions of ways to create a reality, an exceptional experience just while you're here on Earth. If you divide yourself from humanity, so you must think yourself as the collective of humanity, part of a co-creation, and join in that. You still have your place, and your place is your world, and your world is your truth. You don't have to belong outside of yourself. Just have that maybe knowing about that. And I think as humanity moves away from, moves away from the idea of reliability of the doctors right now. Now there's surgery that's done. They've come a long way with surgery. They've come a long way with healthcare and uh, childbirth. They've done great work. There's nothing invalid about Western medicine or hickory dickory docks, but I think now we also see there's other ways. I think the people out there that are genuine about it, that really are exploring the truth of themselves and not trying to make a living and be proud about what they do and have some fucking pipe dream about I'm going to be the greatest healer ever, and they
I
really
think
love their
that,
work. I think
yeah,
I
absolutely.
think it'll work. I think the healing shift and allow mass collectives to start viably taking the mainstream and spreading it into the idea of the consciousness of humanity. It's like, wait a minute, you have options, and we
Yeah.
do.
And I think that you touch a very good point there, is that for me, when I'm doing my Reiki work, is not about reaching an outcome, because I cannot control it. Because this and this is one of the things that the main medicine, right, cannot validate. You say, oh, what have you done? Well, I cannot give you a right. I cannot tell you, because it's not about achieving something. Even though, yeah, you're doing healing work, but for me that is not what I'm focusing on. Because for me is a connection, is a co-creation, right? It's bringing that moment, experiencing that moment. And if you go in it with intention, if you pay attention, you notice that the the experience, it's gonna be something. If you go into it without intention and that you just allow the moment, if you experience the moment, then your experience is gonna be something, I will say, elevated.
Yes, I like the word elevated.
Not that it's one of the other is wrong or right, is simply a different relationship with
Yes,
what you're doing. And the idea of, right, this is also a connection with the collective, with the all, because in the end of the day, right, you're the only one in your world. So you are essentially also doing this work to on yourself. Meaning, when I'm healing, when I'm doing the Reiki, and I can feel it because I experience it many times, being not great, really well, when I start the healing, getting into the experience, and I feel, as I'm having the experience of doing the Reiki, I feel the benefit of myself. So, and I think that is what is really happening, is that there is the experience, right? My perspective and the perspective of the other person that is
yes,
happening.
yes. So I think healing is very valid in the spiritual world. And I think humanity has been testing it and exploring it. And the more we become internal and understanding our relationship with our own expressions, the more valid our expressions become because we're not expressing bullshit. We're not putting out vibrations of lack. So a person that is a true healer unto themselves will put out the true idea about being a healer and allow those co-created ideas of attraction to heal,
Mm-hmm.
although it's accepted by the other. Again, we don't need where it belongs. It's always the moment. It's always the co-created moment. I don't give a flying fuck how things happen. If they are awesome, why do I need to assign it? Well, because my ego wants to figure it out so I can talk about it, be proud about it, figure it out how what happened. We always figure out, we're always spending time figuring stuff out. How much energy do we spend figuring out what doesn't fucking matter when we're now? It's here. Can we live? Sure. Come alive in the moment. And I think that helps with the healing as well. And I think, yeah, there's more to healing that we can explore as we move along. But I think like maybe next week we'll talk about uh, mediumship. You know,
Yes, absolutely. It's very interesting as a topic.
yeah,
And
I think so.
yes, I
There was
mean,
this co-creative moment that I had about a healing. Let me give it to you. I went, there was uh, that was a plea, and there was a blue avian, so the species for those of you out there. Uh,
mm,
and she connected with me, and I went into what I call chambers with her, and her name is Honoria. So I went into chambers, which is kind of like a trance state, you know. Close your eyes, and it's a skill that I've practiced for years to allow myself to vibrate into a state of this co-created consciousness. It's a room that I meet in my consciousness is um, placed in a room where it vibrates at a frequency where Noria and me can co-create, just like I'm sitting across from you at a table at McDonald's, or no one really eats at McDonald's at a restaurant, you know, and just sit across from them and have a discussion. And that's what I do when I go in the chambers. And I remember one time I was feeling ill, and she just said, lay down and let me do the healing. And it was an amazing, an amazing co creative moment that changed my entire idea about what had happened to me back in 2017. That changed the way I would diet, changed my diet, my digestive tract, and everything that happened with this incident started changing. And the healing didn't take overnight. It started a chain of events that allowed me to change my entire outlook, of course, and of course the way that my body felt. That so there's co-creation healings with species that can do that, but again, you have to be open to that idea and not have some bullshit diarrhea about negative beings and positive beings, and benevolent, malevolent, and all that crap. Your mind tells you diarrhea, and you're just sitting there spinning your wheels thinking about everything that's not happening in the here and the fucking now. So, anyways, but that's another kind of healing. I think that was very valid. Uh, that can occur too, you know, because you said the guy with the healing hand, it feels like a being is in him, and it could be the being of his whole cells coming down and being with that. So I think, anyways, I think
yeah,
healing
I mean,
is a good one. Good.
yeah, absolutely. And um, you know, you said it before. It doesn't matter how the healing happens. It happens, and I think that one aspect of it is that we are, as physical beings, we perceive the we perceive it in a certain way, right? So we focus a lot on physical, and we may not perceive as much the non-physical or the energetical aspect of the disease, and therefore of the healing. Um, but nevertheless, at the end of the day, whether you use more a energetical technique or whether you go to the doctor and have a more physical approach, the end game is the healing, right? So I'd say that one way to approach it is to not deny any technique, because you can very well go to the doctor and get your healing, and denying that and only saying, oh, I will only have a certain way of being of approaching the healing, and I will not go to what is the Western medicine because
Right.
it's
Don't
only
limit yourself, for God's sakes.
yes, it's really again, every time you limit yourself, doesn't matter in which way, for whatever situation, limitations is limitation. You are limiting your energy. You're not choosing, right? You're not saying, oh, I don't want that because that's negative. That's bad. That I think that's only a question of money, and they are there just for the money, so I don't want them.
But
So
what
I'm
is
going.
that truly? It's just an opinion.
Yeah.
And it's creating their reality. So you're fucking
Yes.
yourself if you're shutting down what's possible.
Keep it open. That's why also when I go and I have someone working on me, and they ask, oh, what do you want to work on? I said, I have nothing to say on that. Let's just work and see what comes up, because I don't know. I may have something. Yes, I can speak about that. I will not put my intention on it. And I had experiences of that where I went in sounds crystal ball, sounds therapy, and I just said no, I don't want. And I had amazing experiences of healing and of experiences just because I let it wild open without putting any barrier or limiting the energy, because in the end that's what you're doing, you are limiting the energy. It's just a perspective, obviously.
Absolutely.
Point of view.
Very good, Max.
Great.
All right. So
Thank
that
you
was our
so
next one,
much.
folks. Tune in next week for mediumship.
Mediumship, yes. And we for now, thank you for joining in. It's always a pleasure, and a pleasure to share this moment with you, Roxy.
Yeah, let me make an announcement. Yeah, thanks for co-creating, Max. I'm starting a new set of classes starting January 3rd, which is a Tuesday. These are my enlightenment classes, and they consist of 4 schools. And each school takes anywhere, probably usually about a month to get through each school, because we do it once a week. And there are 4 schools total. And it's things that I've discovered that we'll put together. So, odysseyofascension.com. And under enlightenment classes, you'll see the description there if you're interested. Check it out.
Yeah, check it
So,
out. It's an amazing experience and absolutely worth doing it. And Tuesdays. Generally, it's Wednesday, but this one, Tuesdays.
yeah, this class is Tuesdays. Wednesdays, we have different class.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Max, where can they find you at?
They can find me on breakfastwithmax.com and YouTube, Breakfast with Max. And what about you, Roxy?
odysseyofascension.com and on YouTube, Odyssey of Ascension.
And you can write
Booyah.
to us to the Madden God podcast at gmail.com.
All right,
Right.
everyone. Thanks for tuning in. And
Thank
we'll see you
you.
guys next week. Thank you, Max.
Thank you, Roxy. Goodbye.